And we are live streaming the meeting on the Facebook page of the library. We had to do it at Town Hall because we could not connect inside the library. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, let me get to my agenda. It is 6:01, so we're going to begin the meeting. I'm going to use my gavel and calling this meeting to order. I'm going to ask Renato to call the roll. Dara. 4, which is approval of the minutes from February 19th. Can I have a motion?
I make the motion.
Identify yourself, please.
Is that Tom DeLea making the motion? Bob Cosarelli making the motion. Do I have a second?
Mike Darrow will second that.
Mike Darrow second. We have a motion made and second for the approval of the minutes. I'm going to have the roll called.
Mike Darrow.
Yes.
Vargas.
Yes.
Cosarelli.
Yes.
D'Elia.
Yes.
Peralta, yes, and Mayor Melham.
Yes. The next item is item 5, and keep in mind, trustees, that we're playing with new formats to the agenda. This is a somewhat of a new addition. This is really just communications that have been received by the library. At this point, I'm really going to just ask Renato to just read the subject lines, unless we're not taking any action. These are just communications, unless somebody has any specific questions for either myself or Francis. So, communications number A.
We received a letter from Garbarini & Co. PC providing their services.
Okay.
That's an order service.
Just the letter received from them. Item B.
We received an email by Evelyn D'Elia wanting to host a book signing for the book Invest in Yourself, author Daniel D'Elia. And lastly, we received an email received by the president as president trustee interest in committees.
Okay. Any questions? Any of those communications? Anybody? Hearing none, we're going to move on to the director's report.
There's not much to report other than the library is closed due to the coronavirus until further notice. With that said, one employee comes to the library every day between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. During this time, they're doing everything from inventory to spring cleaning, also to get ready to reopen the library. With that, I'm going to start FaceTiming story time tomorrow when I speak to Lisa Palacio, and that is it. Hopefully we'll open sooner than later.
Any questions for the director, anybody? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to committee reports. I had sent out a memo last week. I believe it was distributed to the trustees, setting different committees. We really don't have anything to report. I'm a de facto member of all. I'll just quickly summarize and follow up with what Francis said. The township did engage the services of a professional company, and since the library is one of our facilities, we sent them in. They did clean and sanitize this weekend. Francis was there on Saturday overseeing it. They went in, they sprayed everything down. We are starting with a clean slate once we open up. And for those of you who don't know, the decision to close the library was really made on a conference call with myself and Francis and Township Manager Iacono. It was something I had wanted to keep open initially, and then we thought that since the district was closing schools, we did not necessarily want kids congregating at the library. Normally we would want that, but in this specific case scenario, that's not something we wanted. So we all collectively agreed that the library would close at that point. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to report. Library opening will be something collectively decided between this board, Francis, and the township together. Any questions on that?
Mike, would that follow suit with what's happening with the state, Governor Murphy, as far as gathering and things like that with the
Yeah, that's a great question, Mike Darrow. So what happened was the state declared a state of emergency. The county then declared a state of emergency. Belt, if you don't know this by now, yesterday the township declared a state of emergency. The township is now day 2 into our state of emergency. At this point, our OEM coordinator is in charge of the town. not even Manager Iacono. It's basically our OEM coordinator in charge of town. And some of those actions that we instituted were two things. We ordered the immediate closing, actually no, we ordered the closing of all daycares as of Thursday, tomorrow morning, and we also closed all recreational facilities. So to answer your question, Mike, yeah, we don't want people gathering, but it was actually our local decision to do that. And like I always like to say, when we have decisions like this, especially the decision to declare a state of emergency, if you saw our social media postings, even though it's not our decision to make as a mayor, as a governing body, even as an administration being Anthony, the decision is fully made by our OEM coordinator. We wanted to show a unified front and let everybody know that we all did agree with that decision. So again, Francis was consulted, I was consulted, and Manager Iacono was consulted before we closed and decided to close. So yeah, to answer your question, because of the distancing issue, minimum of 50 people, but we would be able to keep the library open if we decide to keep it open. That decision was made by us locally.
Marshall here?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd like to commend you all on making that swift and decisive decision. I just wanted to, of course, the library is also an informational hub, and we have a new website, which I also am enjoying. I just wanted to make the suggestion that we are able to roll out information on our library website. I'm sure the town's website is giving out the most crucial information, but perhaps for any of our patrons who are now unable to go to the library, they jump on the website and get some, let's say, information on social distancing, on the virus itself, on what happened. So, being it's again the library and information center, I wanted to make that suggestion.
Great suggestion. I'll make it happen tomorrow. Thank you, Marcus.
And Marcus, just to follow up on that, the township's communications did include the library closure, and I will say that the website that's up there now with the library did have the agenda posted to it, which is kind of what we have to do, which was great. We also did post on there the message that the library board trustee meeting would essentially be closed off to the public, even though we are meeting, and we did give instructions on how the public can comment, because we are having a public meeting right now, and the public is allowed to provide comments, and they have. They used the knowledge they got off the website and communicated their comments to Francis directly, which we'll be tackling as item 9.5 later on. Anybody else?
Just a quick question. Given that the school is closed and the library is also closed, are there any changes in procedures for library or consideration of changes procedures for library cards for access to be issued remotely? So this way, if kids wanted to go onto the website, take advantage of the new feature series ebooks.
So excuse me, Bob, what you're saying is if somebody wanted to obtain a new library card, is that what you're addressing?
Correct.
The only way that can be done.
They can't use the card though if the library's
Well,
closed.
no, but you need documentation. So let's think about this. Normally you need 2 bills as documentation that you live in town. Well, that's a good thought. People can scan and send their documentation through this website, and then we could set something up and mail it to them. That's a thought.
Okay.
That's a thought.
Again, maybe all thoughts, because we all uncharted territory. So.
Absolutely. How to obtain a new library card during this period.
Good. Then we now have a website, and we now have, well, we've always had social media, so we can definitely keep communicating. That's the good part.
Okay, great.
These are great ideas. Thank you.
And we do have people watching right now on Facebook, so they might have a little difficulty hearing some of the trustees that are on speaker. We'll try and echo any trustee that speaks on speaker, their concerns out loud, so we can then answer them. Anybody else? We're still in committee reports. Anybody else have anything? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna move on to item number 8. If you're following the agenda, item number 8 is old business. Item A is the renovation of the teen room.
Definitely on hold. A lot of people are not working. I've made phone calls, and with social distancing and people being told to stay home, this is not gonna happen right away. Next, we have the fine-free library. We have a resolution in the packet to start this as of April 1st. Now that the library is closed and we are fine-free, this is actually a very good test, so when we do reopen and the books come back, I think we should revisit this to be fine-free maybe May 1st, as opposed to April 1st for that 3-month period.
It's fine with me. No, do we have to amend that? Is that a
Yeah, well,
resolution?
that has to be amended.
So if we're gonna amend that resolution that's coming up later, let's just discuss that now. So the
Yeah.
resolution that we're gonna be taking action on later, which is the fine-free library, if you all remember, we discussed a 3-month trial period. We're just changing we're just changing the start date on that, that's all. And in case anybody's asking, wondering the question, while the library is closed right now, obviously we're not, nobody will be incurring any fines because they can't physically return their books. So we're just gonna amend that end date so that it's basically 3 months from the time that we reopen up. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, we're moving on to item C, continue education for trustees.
Again, back burner,
Yeah.
back burner.
We don't know what October is gonna bring.
Exactly.
But that would be something that, I think Marcus had supplied that to us maybe.
Yeah, he surprised
So
me.
thank you, Marcus, for
Yes.
doing that. I believe we need about 7 hours collectively, so if somebody comes in for a 45-minute class and has the majority of us in the room, that should suffice, but we have plenty of time to deal with that. So if everybody's okay, we are gonna move on to, the last item is item D, databases.
Well, gentlemen, you have all the information about the databases that we talked about last month. Whether we go forward with them or not, all of them, none of them at this time is understandable. A lot of these places are on hold, but if you liked any of them, Grain Fuse, Canopy, etc., the prices are there. If you want to go forward, I will gladly sign up with them. If you want to hold off on this until we reopen, I'm also satisfied with that answer.
Yeah,
I don't see the rush at this point.
I agree. Everybody okay with that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're moving along, boys. So item number 9 is and woman.
Thank you.
Well, the voting are the boys for now.
That's true, that is true.
Item number 9 is new business. That's a fairly easy one. Our bylaws are approximately 4 pages, we believe. We just have a simple amendment. In order to amend any bylaw, we have to provide that amendment to the trustees at least 5 days in advance. I know for a fact that was communicated in a timely manner that met. The only difference is we're literally just changing the meeting week. So the old bylaws say we meet the second Tuesday. This amendment is very simple. It literally changes the second to the third. And then also when we set the schedule, we just go through January. Usually ends December 31st. We should always be in a habit of setting the first reorg meeting in January. So that's really the only change, I believe, correct?
Correct at this time.
Everybody okay with that? Sounds good. I think we're gonna have to just vote on that. So let's just vote on that amendment to the bylaw. I'm not quite sure. I don't think it would basically be turned into a resolution because we're voting on it. So I'm gonna entertain a motion to accept that bylaw amendment. So I just need someone to make the motion now.
I make a motion.
Mr. Peralta has Peralta has made made a motion. Can I get a second on that? Bob seconds. I don't know why I'm doing this. We have a motion made and second. I'm gonna ask Renato to call the roll on the bylaw amendment.
Mike Darrow. Vargas.
Yes.
Cosarelli.
Yes.
Delia.
Yes.
Peralta, yes. Mayor Melham.
Yes. So now, before we move on to item number 10, again, this is a new agenda. We're all working the kinks out. We're gonna put in here item 9.5, which is public participation. Obviously, we are in a public meeting, but we are in uncharted territory, or unprecedented times, I should say. So we have a public meeting without the public being available. I believe that the public was given adequate notice of the meeting. I believe the public was given adequate notice of the agenda. I believe the public was given adequate notice on how they can communicate and participate in this meeting. So with that being said, we do have 2 comments from the public. I'm going to read the first one. And again, this is public comments. If the public was here, they would have a right to stand up and speak for at least 5 minutes. So here, I'm going to read one here. It says, "Good afternoon. I have my youngest child in daycare on Union Avenue, and they've been asked to pay full tuition for the remainder of the daycare closures. I understand teachers have to get paid, but we are not getting the service that we are paying for. We are actually giving away our money with nothing in return. I am a small business owner, and I have to pay providers during the closure, and I cannot obligate people to use my services when it is recommended to have a distance and not being a gathering. I cannot comprehend how this daycare expects us to pay if we continue to pay. This is something the city should address, if it is even possible to allow them to do so." So again, I accept that as a comment made for a member of the public. Obviously, this is probably not the right venue for this resident to voice those concerns, but that public comment was made. It was read into the record now, and I feel satisfied that that resident has had their voice heard. Francis, I believe, has another email, and I'll let her read it.
Good afternoon. I have a question. My books are due. What can I do? The library, it's closed until further notice. My name is Karina Matias. The answer here is we are fine-free during this time. You get to keep your books at home until we reopen. The book deposit box is also closed. There will be no fines during this period of time.
So just to summarize, we had 2 comments for public commenting. Both of them have been given their due process and their time. I'm comfortable that we can move on to item number 10. So item number 10 is resolutions. There are 3 resolutions on the agenda today. First one is resolution 3-0001, the authorization to pay bills.
Gentlemen, the bills, the new number on the resolution is $72,195.57. The reason for the huge jump: the library received their 4th quarter bill from the Township of Belleville for $43,000 and change. We had the money left over in our 2019 budget, so we're good to go.
I'm just going to give everybody a minute or 2 to look through it. I know we've all seen this before, but we're just going to give it a minute like we normally do.
Any questions?
The O'Toole Scrivo.
There's a copy of it. There's 2.
Francis, the O'Toole Scrivo is...
Yes, it's quite a bit of money.
Uh-huh.
At that time, I was asked to get opinions from O'Toole Scrivo.
Okay. Jersey Elevator, Staples, Uline. Does any trustee have any questions for Francis about the bills?
Oh, and
Or does anybody need extra time?
museum passes. You're right for that as well, right?
No.
Okay, we hear none. I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the bills. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
Renato has made a motion. Do we have a second? All right, Mike Darrow, Tom DeLeo is a tie. Okay, so there's a motion made and second to authorize the payment of bills. I'm going to have Renato call the roll.
Vargas.
Yes.
Darrow.
Yes.
Delia.
Yes.
Cosarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Walter?
Oh, Peralta, yes.
Okay, item B is then authorization to appoint an attorney for the library board. As we all know, we're sitting here in March, a quarter of the way through. We have not had an attorney since January, and frankly, we could have used an attorney the last couple of days to help guide us through this public meeting, some of the questions we've had. I know everybody's had a chance to review the proposal that was initially sent, and I know everybody else was also provided with a explanation, call it an opinion, that they can serve as library board attorneys because there really wasn't a conflict, even though a valid question was raised to that end. I am comfortable moving forward. They come at a substantial discount to our former attorneys, who we no longer have, by the way, because they expired in January. So we have, we have all the documentation, the proposal, we have the letters. I really believe we need to move forward, and I'm really interested in getting an attorney on to this board. Does anybody have any questions, or can we just call? Hearing no questions at this point, gonna entertain a motion to, I need a motion.
I make a motion.
We have a motion on the table, and I need a second. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Bob, we have a motion made and second to appoint an attorney to the library board. I'm gonna ask Renato to call the roll.
Vargas?
Yes.
Darrow?
Yes.
Dalia?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Cosarelli?
Yes.
Peralta, yes.
Motion carries. Congratulations, we have an attorney. Actually, before let me hit the pause button on that, everybody. The resolution for the attorney is dated, the title is dated April 1st, 2020 through March 31st, 2021, which sounds like it's a year appointment. I was discussing this with Francis, because the dates in the body of the resolution are a little different. They say February 1st for 12 months. So I'm gonna actually hit the pause button on this. I'm gonna ask for a motion to amend this resolution so that it could be dated March 19th, 2020, which would be tomorrow. And then it's not gonna be for 12 months. It's gonna go through February 2021. The reason being is that we should always appoint professionals for basically a year, but they should also be up for renewal at our annual reorganization meeting in January to be reappointed or not be reappointed. So I'm gonna ask for a motion to amend, and just so we're all clear, the date will be March 19th, 2020, which is tomorrow, through February 1st, 2021. So they will be at our reorg meeting when we decide who the next attorney will be for the next 12-month period. If everybody's okay with that amendment, I'm gonna just ask for a motion to accept that amendment. Renato?
I make a motion.
Renato has made the motion. Can I get a second on that?
I'll second it.
Marcus is the second. So we're gonna vote now on the amendment again, March 19th, which is tomorrow, through February 1st, 2021. It is not a 12-year appointment. It'll basically get us through the reorg meeting in January, and then we reappoint for a 12-month period. We have a motion made in second. I'm gonna ask Renato to call the roll.
Mike Darrow?
Yes.
Vargas?
Yes.
Cosarelli?
Yes.
Dalia?
Yes.
Peralta, yes. Mayor Melham?
Yes. Okay. Moving on to item C is an authorization for the fine-free pilot program. As we discussed during Francis's communications, we are gonna just amend that slightly so that the start date is May 1st, when we expect we should be open before then, but we're gonna amend that. So we're gonna make a motion to vote on this with the amendment being beginning May 1st.
I make a
Okay.
motion.
Renato has made a motion. I need a second.
Second, Tom DeLuca.
Tom DeLea is a second. We have a motion made and second for authorization of a fine-free pilot program beginning now as amended May 1st. Motion made and second. Renato, please call the roll.
Vargas,
Yes.
Cosarelli,
Yes.
Darrow,
Yes.
Delia,
Yes.
Peralta, yes. Mayor Melham.
Yes. Do we have any items for executive session?
None.
We have no items for executive session. I'm gonna ask for a motion to adjourn. Renato.
I make a motion.
Renato made a motion to adjourn. Need a second?
I will second it.
Mike Darrow seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sounds like a bunch of ayes. Congratulations, everybody. We've concluded our meeting. Thank you all.
Good evening, thank you.